What's up, guys? Today is day 22 of the Karen Reed trial. Let's get into it and see what happens today in this trial. See if anything new comes out, guys.
So, jurors, before we begin, Mr. Lally, as you approach the podium there, when I tell you that I strike something from the record, I know I've told you before, that means you're not to consider it, okay? Go ahead, Mr. Lally.
Thank you. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
So, with reference to, I believe before we broke, we were talking a bit about Julie Albert and Christopher Albert, correct?
Yes.
And how would you describe your relationship, if any, between Julie Albert and Christopher Albert prior to January 29, 2022?
Loose acquaintances?
People that you knew through your sister, is that correct?
Correct.
Now, with reference to the occasions that you had said where you may have been at the same place at the same time at a family function or something like that, over what period of time are we talking about, and about how many different instances of that occurred over those years?
Like I mentioned, they had never been to my house. It was either at my sister's home or at my parents' house. I might have been at the same function half a dozen times.
And at those times that you were at the same function a half a dozen times or so, how much interaction would you have with either Christopher Albert or Julie Albert or even Colin Albert at those functions?
Just casual conversation, be cordial, and just typical conversations, hi, how's it going, things of that nature.
Now, with reference to these experiences or relationships, or lack thereof, that you had with Christopher and Julie Albert, what, if any, conversations did you have with your supervisors as far as superior officers within your unit in regard to this?
I explained the connection with my sister to the Albert family.
And who did you explain that to, sir?
That would be Sergeant Mechanic, Lieutenant Fanning, and Detective Lieutenant Tully.
All right, Trooper, I'm going to ask you to keep your voice up, maybe approach the microphone a little closer.
And just with respect to those disclosures, what specifically did you tell either Sergeant Mechanic or Lieutenant Fanning or Lieutenant Tully?
Basically that the Alberts are my sister's friends, that I've been at some functions with them, and the only kind of connection with the Albert family is through my sister.
And just when you say the Alberts, as far as who specifically within the Alberts are you talking about that had a friendship with your sister?
Julie, Chris, and their son Colin.
Now, with regard to the investigation that you were conducting and the interviews that you conducted, what, if any, impact did those relationships have with regard to your interviews of them specifically, or the investigation in total?
Zero. Absolutely zero impact on this investigation.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
Sir, I'm showing you a document. Do you recognize that?
Yes.
And what do you recognize it to be?
It's a text message thread labeled Proctor Friends.
Now, over the course of your investigation, over the course of this case, are you aware that there were iCloud data that was obtained from your personal cell phone?
Yes.
And different text strings from that iCloud data from your personal cell phone, correct?
Correct.
And with respect to what has just been placed before you, is that an excerpt or piece from those particular messages?
It is.
And from the front page of that, can you tell the jury who are sort of the participants in this particular text communication?
There's several numbers that aren't identified. The three that are under kind of nicknames me and my buddies have for each other.
And generally speaking, just as far as the participants in this text communication, who are these people to you, and how do you know them? How long have you known them? Who are they?
The members on this text thread are close friends from junior high, first grade even.
So people you've known for years, is that correct?
Correct.
And do each of them live, or do any of them live within the general area at this time?
Some of them do, yes.
And so when some of them do, some of them do not, is that correct?
Correct.
And the ones that do not, how far away do they live?
As far away as Tennessee.
Now, with reference to this, there's an indication as far as the first message sent or last message sent from this particular text chain, correct?
I'm sorry, repeat the question, please.
Sure. Sort of towards the middle of the first page. Come direct your attention to that area. Is there any indication as far as the first message sent and the last message sent with respect to this text chain?
On the first page, yes.
And what is indicated as far as the first message and the last message?
The first message is, I need to brandish a gun more often. The last is, Chip, name of that BPD cop.
No, I'm sorry, sir. If I could direct your attention to the first page in this packet, page 2527, you see conversation details. I'm sorry, may I approach?
Yes.
Sir, if I could direct your attention to the right.
Okay.
Do you see what I was talking about now?
I do, sir.
And from that area labeled conversation details, there's a first message sent date and time and a last message sent date and time, correct?
Yes.
Okay. What is the first message sent date and time?
It's 10/18 of 2021 at 8:48 a.m. The last message sent is 8/31/2022 at 11:19 p.m.
And is there also within that conversation details an indication as far as number of messages over that time frame within this communication?
There is.
And what does it list for number of messages?
It's 38,707.
And fair to say the packet that you have before you does not contain all 38,707 messages, correct?
That's correct.
The first message that you had, I believe, alluded to in reference to the first one listed within this communication, what date and time is that?
That was January 29th, 2022 at 10:36 p.m.
And who is that message from?
My friend who lives in Tennessee.
And what, if anything, did he send to the group?
I need to brandish a gun more often.
And if you know, what is that in reference to?
He just recently moved to Tennessee, and he was kind of, I think, making a joke as kind of the lifestyle down there where guns are more prominent or more common to be carried around there. So I interpreted that as a joke in that nature.
And the next message, sir, from that same page, 2527.
The next one is, it's bold.
And is there a name associated with that number that's in these?
No,
Do you know who that person is?
I don't.
And the next message, sir, from 10:52 p.m.
Chip, name of that BPD cop.
And Chip, who is that referring to, sir?
That is one of my nicknames I've had since maybe high school.
So a nickname that would be familiar amongst these group of friends in particular?
Yes.
And this time period when these text messages begin, sometime after 10:30 or 10:50 p.m. on January 29th, where are you and what are you doing in reference around that time period?
At this point in time, on the 29th, I'm home.
And that last text message, do you respond to that at approximately 10:53 p.m.?
Yes.
And what was your response?
John O'Keefe.
And the next message down from there, also at 10:53 p.m.?
Yes. He took custody of his sister's kids.
That's your response. There is another response above that, is that correct?
Yes.
And what does that say?
How old?
And you respond as far as he took custody of his sister's kids, correct?
Correct.
Skipping down a couple, do you see an entry at 10:53:49 p.m.?
Yes.
And that's from a 617 number, is that correct?
Correct.
And what is the response there?
Oh man, that's rough.
And following that, do you respond to the earlier query as far as age?
I do.
And what did you say?
Mid 40s.
Now, the next message below that, as far as indication of mid 40s, what is that?
His age.
No, I understand that. I'm sorry. The next message underneath that, sir.
I'm sorry. It's a Facebook link.
And do you recall what that Facebook link is to?
It's to John O'Keefe.
And is that something you sent or one of your friends sent?
One of my friends sent.
And the next message below, turning to now page 2529 at the top there, what is the next message that's sent?
What's that? Don't have the book anymore.
And as far as the book, what did you understand that to mean?
Let me approach.
Sure.
So do you all think that she did it, or do you guys think that she's innocent?
10-minute break. So, do you have that copy for me?
So it looks like we're taking a 10-minute break. What do you guys think's going on in the trial? Do you think she did it, or do you think that it was an accident that occurred at the other cop's house, but not by her hand? "12 gauge, Jeff, what do you think?" Hi, Swamp. Links in your Discord, Swamp. Yeah, that's very true, 12 gauge. No wrath like a scorned woman. But see, here's the thing, though. The damage to her tail light was caused when she backed into a car, not when she backed into him or ran over him. Hey, Kiki.
Hey everybody, wait, hold on, how are you today, Robert?
I'm doing okay. How you doing?
Good. Should I stream this to my site too?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they're on a 10-minute break right now.
Oh, perfect. Okay, let me write a title. Let me say live coverage of live. I'll just put live DK hearing. Sorry, guys.
Live Karen Reed hearing.
Oh, we're doing Karen Reed?
Yes.
Okay. Karen Reed, okay. And I'll put on, I am a guest of true crime cold. All right. Customized for each destination. I'm not going to do X, but I don't know what the rules are about that. So, but anyway, I'm going to stop my camera because I'm just going to put on my war paint. Ryan, Because True Crime Colt has called me last minute for this, so just got back from walking the dog. Anyway, in a bit.
I
So
like the
what's
way
the
she
10
said
minute
it, war
recess
paint.
for?
Proctor was on the stand, and then all of a sudden, he left the stand, and then it went silent for about 5 minutes, and then the judge called a 10-minute recess. Proctor was looking at text, his own text messages. Yeah, that was evidence, and that he basically sent to friends and family and stuff like that. And the judge, I guess the judge ordered something inadmissible and told the defense not to bring it up in front of the jury.
Oh, really? This trial, you know, I watch the local news every morning out of Boston because I live in Massachusetts. And the big thing last night was the debate over the inverted camera. And it's incredible. This story gets so much coverage on the local news, and it's just, that's so interesting. People are really passionate about it.
But yeah,
So how long have you been following this case, Robert? Have you been following it from the beginning?
No, not from the beginning. Some of my mods, they've been following it from the beginning, and they're really passionate about the case. And they suggested, yeah, I should take a look at the case, and yeah, so that's what I was doing this morning. I was going through some Karen Reed videos, and then I noticed it was day 22 of the trial. I'm like, I said maybe I'll live stream this, and just by what I've seen so far, I'm not saying there's corruption. I'm not saying there's a cover up, but there's something off, because they're saying that she backed into him and ran him over at another cop's house, but yet there's video of her backing into another vehicle, and the damage done to the rear end of her vehicle matches up to the damage to the other vehicle, but yet they're saying that the damage was done when she backed over him and ran him over.
I think you've summarized it perfectly where they're at right now. And if I'm not mistaken, we're still in the middle of getting all of this particular evidence regarding the taillight. Like that's where we're at in the trial. So we kind of don't even have all the testimony right now to make a decision. But both sides have so far done a really good job presenting their taillight theories, I think.
Yeah, and there's stuff in the case that the judge won't let the defense bring in.
Like
She's
what?
deeming it.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Robert. I apologize.
It's okay. I don't know what kind of evidence that there is, but the judge has deemed it inadmissible, and the defense is not allowed to bring it forward. Basically, defense witness experts, that the judge is not allowing those experts to testify.
Wow. And so is this on the polycarbonate, the experts on polycarbonate, you mean?
Yes. Yes, polycarbonate.
That's what I thought you meant. You know, I do have a bunch of bookmarks on this too on my X page because I've been wanting to cover it. I just, you always want to come from a place of understanding, and there's just so many people doing such a great job covering this right now. I didn't want to just jump in, but I'm glad you're calling me over to check out the trial today.
Yeah, we had a really good live last night, and it was called True Crime Talk, and we basically covered the Karen Reed case, the Idaho 4 case, the serial killer case there in New York. We touched on some Sebastian Rogers. So it wasn't just one case we went over last night. the live. It was like 4 different cases that we went over in the live last night.
That's actually really impressive. That's hard to get to that many different topics, let alone cases in a live stream. You guys must have been having some good conversation.
Oh yeah, I had Sophie on panel with me. I had the Maven on panel with me, and we had good chemistry last night, and not only on the panel but in the live. We had a lot of people asking questions in the live last night.
The live chat just absolutely really helps the live stream. It really makes the live stream.
Yeah, we had Heather Fitzgerald asking questions. We had Twizzlestick. Nina Kelly was on panel for a little bit before Sophie and the Maven came on, and she was dropping truth bombs in the live chat last night.
Which case was she dropping the most truth bombs about?
The Idaho 4.
Interesting.
Like Steve Gonzalez Jr. He graduated from the U of I. He was best friends with Lake Campbell and another guy who was friends with Emma Bailey. And there was pictures of Emma Bailey and Demetrius Robinson, because apparently before the house was filled with nothing but girls, it was filled with nothing but guys.
Okay.
Like Lake Campbell, this dude named Aiden, and then a few others, and we also touched on the Ashland Couch situation as well. We're trying to figure out exactly, she gave her lease in her room to Xana, but
right.
yet she was still on the lease.
Huh. I have that original list, Xana's original listing. I mean, I don't know if you want to get off topic of Karen Reed, but I actually have her original listing with all of her furniture, the original Facebook post taken down. But I know that you've always had questions about the timing of Ashland Couch's interview. You thought it was a damage control thing, right? If I remember correctly.
Yes. Is she starting this nonprofit it's in honor of Maddie and Kaylee and Xana, and basically Maddie and Kaylee. It's a nonprofit to basically help warn college students online about always being vigilant and always being aware of your surroundings. And she goes, if I was still there, that could have happened to me.
But for me, that's makes me wonder, what is the tone, the attitude of people that are on campus? Because obviously she feels something about the case makes her feel necessary to start a foundation for that. So what was it? What is it that all these these young people are thinking is going on that makes her want to start a foundation to be carefuler online? That's my word, sorry. Be more careful online.
Yeah. She made the comment that you never know who's watching you or watching your house or around you.
Yeah. I wonder if that's, I wonder what she meant by that. And then the other thing too that you brought up is the timing of that. So I would love to actually hear what the Maven had to say. I don't know if you want to pull that footage up, but I'd be really.
Yeah, she thinks it's also to control the narrative. There was a lot of talk about narrative in the chat last night too.
What else?
It's all to control the narrative. And there is a narrative in this BK case. We all see it. We all know it. When the prosecution refused to cross-examine Cy Ray.
That was surprising to me, right?
Yeah,
Not one question.
Not one question. But old Brett Payne, he looked like a goop on the stand.
I think I mean, I don't know if he looked like personally, I thought that he answered the questions like the proper way, for his case. But it was super frustrating, and the public wished it had a lot more detail. I agree with you on that.
It is restarting.
Oh, I would love to hear. Are they starting back up?
Yep.
Wait, do you? My eyes aren't that bad. I've just been walking my dog 12. Oh my god. I'm not cloud chasing right now. Robert, can you mute your mic? I'll mute mine. Robert, how come we don't have any sound? Robert? Hey, in the live chat, I think Robert.
Yeah.
What's going on?
That's just the way it's been. She'll just sit there and wait until the judge comes in.
Oh, and then they turn up the sound. Okay.
Yeah. I know, it's interesting, isn't it?
Yes. While you're doing that, I'm gonna pull up my X page so I have something to contribute, because I have a whole entire bookmark of Karen Reed stuff. Waiting for the right time to share it with the world. Oh, JRL is live covering it on X.
Yeah.
And you responded 10:56 as well as 10:57, is that correct?
Correct.
And what did you respond?
My first response was nope. Homeowner is a Boston cop too.
And
Hey, Heather.
what, if anything, were you saying, or what was the purpose of that text in regard to the homeowner?
I was just letting him know that essentially Mr. O'Keefe is a Boston cop and the homeowner was a Boston cop as well.
Now, if I could turn your attention to 2533. On the top of the page, sir, if you could read through that page as far as who's texting and what are they saying?
Again, for my friend from Tennessee and myself, I hope not, but I can't see it. I responded with, she waffled him. I looked at his body at the hospital. He was banged up.
Now, as far as the next text from a 781 number, what does that say?
Did he get beat up?
And you responded to that, is that correct?
I did.
The objection's sustained as to form.
What, if any, response did you provide to that?
Nope.
Objection. The objection is to the former question and the answer. Complete.
I'll strike it.
Thank you.
Now turning your attention to 2534. And from this page, sir, if you could again just read through as far as indicating to the jury who's speaking and what is being said.
From the start of the first text, so the owner of the house.
Yes.
So the owner of the house was a woman cop that beat him. That's what I initially thought after talking to Canton paramedic. Then I saw the guy.
And those last two are your responses, is that correct?
Yes.
Now, the following text messages are from your friends, is that correct?
Yes.
What do they say?
Bear, let's focus. What does she waffle to mean? What's the story? I responded, she hit him with her car.
And the she that you're referring to there, who is that?
Miss Reed.
Now turning your attention to the next page, 2535. Again, if you could start at the top of the page and read through that page and just indicate to the jury who is talking and what is being said.
Okay. My friend in Tennessee states, okay, that's fucked up. I respond, intentional or not. Then another response, gotcha. He was frozen in the driveway and she didn't see him, question mark. That's another animal we won't be able to prove. And then I respond, they arrived at the house together, gone to an argument.
Anyone speak out loud or out of turn?
The objection's overruled.
Your Honor,
But
if I could say this, there needs to be an identifier of who's
I
speaking.
understand what you think the mix-up is. So, Mr. Lally, go back.
Thank you.
Sir, if you could please, again, start at the top of the page and just indicate.
No,
as you go
just after the, gotcha, he was frozen in the driveway, correct, Mr. Jackson?
That's correct, Your Honor. Thank you.
I respond, that's another animal we won't be able to prove. I follow that up. They arrived at the house together, got into an argument. She was driving and left. 781 number responds with, what's the name of the Canton cop living in Canton, the other one involved.
And how do you respond to that, sir?
There's several other messages before I issue a response.
Objection again. Bottom of the page.
So it's not an objection, but Mr. Lally, why don't you point him?
So, sir, at the bottom of page 2535, you have a response, is that correct?
Correct.
And what is that response?
They arrived at the house together, got into an argument. She was driving and left.
Objection.
So it's going to be a matter you can address on cross.
There has to be some accuracy. If the reading.
So I understand. So, Mr. Lally, why don't you go point for your witness?
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay. It's a HTML link, whiteout / Proctor iCloud / group chat Feb 2022. So you point out.
Can I see what you have for a second, please?
Yeah, sure.
Mr. Lally, it's on there. Why don't you go show your witness? Why don't you just read it, Mr. Lally, and tell us who you attribute it to?
Sure. So, sir, what I'm asking you about is the bottom of page 2535, excuse me, 26.
That judge seems like a witch. You're muted.
So I said, there's some interesting comments in the live chat, like just some funny
Yeah.
things. Like you can hear the Boston accent in like everything they say. That's the first thing that you can tell from everybody who's not local. And then the other thing is that one. Could you imagine holding that thing in your face, like right above the head, right there? Imagine holding that thing in your face all day long.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be nerve-wracking.
535.
Right.
You indicated.
Hi, Nina.
Correct.
What did you mean by that?
That Miss Reed had struck Mr. O'Keefe with her vehicle.
Now, sir, if I could direct your attention to page 2537. Now, do you see response toward the bottom of the page from yourself, January 29, 2022 at 11:04 p.m.?
Yes.
And can you read that response for the jury?
Yeah, but there'll be some serious charges brought on the girl.
And what did you mean by that, sir?
That throughout the course of the day, we had compelling evidence that Miss Reed struck Mr. O'Keefe with her vehicle.
And you have two responses from friends, the same friends, at the bottom of that page, 2537, is that correct?
That's correct.
And what are those responses?
Keep your voice up loud, please, Trooper Proctor. Jurors can't hear you.
Yes, Your Honor. Number ending in 5051. Got to be. I can only imagine what internal affairs of the BPD are trying to get out there. The second response, same number. She hot at least.
And turning your attention to the next page, 2538, at the top, if you could just read a number series of responses from yourself, correct?
Yes, sir.
Read from those, sir.
Yep. So these came from me. From all accounts, he didn't do anything wrong. She's a whack job. CUNT.
Objection.
So don't spell it. You have to. So these are your words, Trooper Proctor?
Yes, Your Honor.
Go ahead and say them.
Cunt. Yes, she's a babe. Weird Fall River accent, though. Though. No ass.
And sir, what is it that you were referring to there, or why would you text that?
These were, from all accounts, he didn't do anything wrong. Is talking about the homeowner, Mr. Albert. I had mentioned the compelling evidence against Miss Reed at this point indicated that Mr. Albert had nothing to do with Mr. O'Keefe's death. The rest of the unprofessional and regrettable comments are something I'm not proud of, and I shouldn't have wrote in a private or any type of setting.
Sir, at some point, if I could turn your attention to page 2540. And there's a photograph that's shared within this text communication, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And does it indicate who shared that photograph? On the prior page, possibly.
The number ending in 5051.
And who is depicted in that photograph that was shared within the group text?
It's Miss Reed being escorted out of the State Police Milton Barracks.
And these are all from February 1st of 2022, around that time frame, is that correct?
Yes.
Now, sir, if I could direct you to page 2543. And sir, if I could direct you to the top of the page and ask you to read through that page indicating who's speaking and what the content of those communications are.
Okay. Number ending in 4146. Question is that chick a smoke? Again, 4146 question mark. I respond EH. I respond again, nutbag, as Chief would say. I also respond with, she's got a leaky balloon knot, leaks poo.
Are they like totally bashing her on the stand through those text messages? And you're muted.
I mean, they're trying to, I don't think that they're taking, I don't think this makes her look bad. I think this makes them look bad. I mean, the only thing I can think, Robert, and you tell me what you think. Like, they're, as far as I know, they know her, and this is their friend and coworker, so he just died. Like, sometime, like, it does not give somebody the excuse to talk like this, but, like, it does explain why the language escalated like that. But it's just like, how do you investigate somebody if you that passionately don't
Like them?
So how, so I don't know, is he an investigating officer in this? Because clearly, like, he was distraught over his friend's death and very close to it. So I would hope that he's not, like, the investigating officer. Although these are very small cities, and I don't know, like, I don't know, what do you know?
It just seems like the way that they're talking about her amongst themselves, it's like they don't like her.
Hold on. These cops are not proud of what they've written. They could do that. That's what Susie G says. Interesting, Susie. Yeah, again, Robert and I are, we're getting to know the case, so we're just giving our immediate reactions, not anything else. We're hiding stuff. All right.
What is it with all these high-profile cases where it's always the police hiding stuff? Like, we're hearing him read his text messages, how he really feels about Karen Reed, saying she has poo leaking out of her something, and then calling her the C-U-N-T word. And then saying that she's not all there.
I don't know, Robert. I know the FBI has been investigating this case, so they wanted to make sure there was no wrongdoing. I know that there's a YouTuber who went to jail over trying to expose wrongdoing in this case.
Wow.
I don't know, I don't know what's going on. But the one thing is I can say, I am a reasonable person, and I can see where after his friend died, calling somebody that he thinks just unalived her, the C word. So, and I think it's reprehensible to talk like that, but again, I know that in the heat of the moment, people say passionate things. But he shouldn't have been investigating it if that's where his emotions were. That's what I would want to say about that.
And what, if anything, is that in reference?
Again, to Ms. Reed's some medical conditions there. Again, unprofessional comments I should not have made, that I'm not proud of.
As far as attitudes expressed in these text messages and other text messages, what, if any, impact did that have as far as your investigation was concerned regarding this?
These juvenile, unprofessional comments have zero impact on the facts and the evidence and the integrity of this investigation. Like I said, these are unprofessional comments, but they absolutely do not detract from the integrity of the investigation or the facts and evidence of it.
Yes.
Proctor, contained within, we've seen text messages amongst yourself and a variety of different people from that same sort of iCloud area of your personal phone, correct?
Correct.
And among those, are there communications that you had with members of the candidate as well?
Yes.
And how would you characterize, what was the general content of communications that you had with members of the candidate?
One communication was to coordinate interview times for firefighters and police officers and to set up a conference room where those interviews could be conducted. Obviously, the presence of Canton detectives or any police officers were not going to be sitting in on these interviews. Another communication was to inquire of relevant security videos that are in the area. Their local department, they know the area very well, so I reached out and asked if there's some good cameras in the area that I had of kind of interest in.
May I approach?
Yes.
I'm showing you another document, just asking if you recognize that.
Yes, I do.
What do you recognize that to be, sir?
Text communications between my sister and I.
That's your sister Courtney, is that correct?
That's correct.
And similar to what I'd asked you about the prior packet, as far as a first message sent, date and time, last message sent, date and time, what is indicated on this first page?
First message sent, date, time, December 10th, 2021 at 9:33 p.m. Last message sent, 8:30, 2022 at 8:48 p.m.
And 8:30, that's August 30th, is that correct?
I'm sorry, yes, August 30th, 2022.
And similarly to the other messages, is there an indication as far as how many number of messages were sent between yourself and your sister over that time period?
2,865.
And fair to say that the documents in front of you do not contain 2,865 messages?
Correct.
Now, just in reference to the first message on page 2662, the first page in this packet, do you see that from December 10th of 2021 at approximately 9:33 p.m.?
Yes.
And what does that indicate?
A text message from my sister.
And what does it say?
I called earlier, Dolph earlier, and Mom was puking in the background.
And do you recall what that was in regard to?
From the sounds of it, my mother had the stomach bug.
And sir, if I could direct your attention to page 2667. And these are text messages from January 29th, 2022, between yourself and your sister Courtney, correct?
Correct.
And if you could read from the top of the page through the end, and please indicate to the jury as far as who's talking and who's saying what.
So I texted my sister at work, "What's up?" She responds, "What? Why?" I respond, "I just found it frozen to death on a front lawn in Canton this morning. Actually just interviewed Jen McCabe, said she knows you."
And the knows you, who are you referring to?
My sister.
And how did your sister respond to that?
Cut the shit. I responded, "You." It was a typo correction with my response to you. She responded, "Yeah, she knows Jack very well. She's really good friends with Julie." My sister continues on. Her sister is married to Brian Albert. My sister asks, "You still working?" ? I says, yeah, gonna be out for a while. Homicide.
And as far as your answers to those questions, or as far as your communications that you had with your sister at this time, on the afternoon of January 29th, what were those in regard to, or why were you communicating that to your sister?
At that time, it was just kind of in the news. I was just kind of letting her know I was out working. She didn't share anything specific. I wouldn't share anything specific on cases with my family or anyone. It was just kind of an overall innocent conversation.
Now, turning your attention to the next page, 2669. Again, if you could read from that page as far as who is talking and what the content is.
All right. My sister starts off, the Canton thing is a homicide. I respond, this is at 3
Robert?
in the afternoon on the 29th. Don't say a word to anyone. She said, of course not.
Yeah.
I respond, and the very
I'm
least
just
it's
going to step away
suspicious.
from the camera
She
for a
responds,
second
"This
and
is your
let you guys
livelihood."
know. I just have to, I'll be
And then
right
I
back.
would never miss
Okay?
with that.
Okay.
3:07, I respond, Julie and Chris were at the bar with the victim and girlfriend. Got to interview them.
Direct your attention to page 2672. These are messages from February 1st, 2022. Is that correct?
Correct.
One of the top starts about February 1st, 5:57 p.m. Is that correct?
Yes.
And again, if you could read through as far as who's speaking and what the content of those messages are.
I texted my sister, what's up? She responded, nothing. I just saw Julie, and she said when this is all over, she wants to get you a thank you gift. And I respond, get Elizabeth one. Elizabeth's my wife. And my sister responds, because I guess her and Chris were friends with John, and she's so proud of you for leading this. And then she writes, Elizabeth, question mark? I respond with, she's been stuck with the kids for the last 10 nights. My sister responded with, yeah, but she knew what life is like married to a cop.
And sir, as far as the gift that's mentioned, as far as the Albert, is that anything that you had received at any point in time?
I never received a gift. I never asked for a gift. My wife never received a gift. She never asked for a gift.
How would you describe this context of this conversation, or why that's being discussed at this time?
Again, I don't know the thought process of my sister and Julie as far as bringing that idea of a gift into play. Like I said, I didn't ask for one. I never received one. The same with my wife.
Sir, if I could direct your attention to page 2676. And again, if I could ask you to start at the top of the page, read through and just indicate as far as who's saying, who's speaking and what they're talking about.
I start out, we write like 8 to 12 warrants on each case. My sister responded, no, I have no idea what the hell you do or how it works. I responded on the 10th at 7:36 p.m. I'm starving, but I also just want to go home. Thanks, though. My sister responds, yeah, but is dinner going to be waiting? She responded with, ha, ha, ha. And then I responded, yep. And then my sister responded with, okay, it's fine. Mom and I just don't want to go home.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes.
So what do you think so far, Kiki? You're muted.
Wow, I mean, there's just so many moving parts to this trial. It's hard coming right in and covering it right now because,
Yeah.
but this whole exchange is just, I have so many unanswered questions now just hearing this testimony. I'd love to know from some of the people who are watching it, who have been watching it for a while, was this officer involved in the investigation? I don't think he would be because I think he's a witness, but
Yeah.
I'd be interested to know.
Yeah, I would be interested I would be interested to know too. Reading all of his text messages there on the stand, and it looks like quite a lot of text messages.
Yeah.
Like sheets and sheets and sheets of text messages.
I know, and it kind of seemed like he didn't know what was going to be in them. So I wonder if he like didn't review them before he like went on the stand. Like, if I was going to go on the stand, I like know what all my text messages are going to say.
Oh yeah, I mean, especially when he said that a lot of those messages he regrets saying.
Right.
Yeah, because it was in the heat. It was in the heat of the moment, and he regrets saying them.
Yeah, and I mean, it's his friend had just passed away. I mean, it's kind of like, you know, if we have to compare it to a case that we both know so well, it's that quote from, you know, Ethan's mother when she talks about 2 a.m. is a dark hour.
Yeah.
Does that mean something, or is that just she was you know? I think it's one of those.
Jeff says the sunglasses are cool. Look, Kiki.
Thank you. I know. I decided to just keep them. Robert, do you have any sunglasses? Maybe we could clinic. Maybe we could get clinic.
No, the only sunglasses I have are that makes me look like freaking Jay Embry.
Well, I'm not a big fan of Jay Embry today, so don't look like me. No offense to Jay Embry, but I'm good. Sorry, but those who know what I'm talking about. I'll get over it.
Why? What happened with Jay Embry?
I just his last video. I don't want to talk about it, but I'll just say his last video. Made me sad.
Yeah, I know he was having problems, uploading this video that he had to turn around and make it members only. Yeah, he had to turn around and make it members only.
The one that was just released this morning?
No, not the one this morning. This was about a week ago.
I'm not going to say anymore. Oh, there we go. Out of order in court. So yeah, that's what I have. The only person I've told my feelings to is AR, but that's because AR knows all the details. I got a Discord. I was making sure it wasn't about the show. I saw that. I didn't want to say it out loud.
Yeah, Jeff says he's singing "I Wear My Sunglasses at Night."
Oh, that's so sweet, John.
Hey Jeff, you want to come up, or are you still shopping around the Goodwill? Earlier in the chat, 12 Gauge was trying to get him to come up, and he goes, no, I'm busy shopping around the Goodwill.
It's not a good place to get on the panel at the live stream. I guess it depends on the live.
Yeah.
You know what? Goodwill would be a good place to like interview people to get like a perspective on the street, get a good sampling of all walks of it.
Yeah. Jeff goes, I just pulled into the driveway. Can I get a few minutes? Yeah, Jeff, you can get a few minutes.
So, like, Robert, I would say I can go till about 4:30, then I gotta go start dinner. So I just wanted to forewarn you.
Okay. Yeah, well, it's 3:05 here.
Oh, hi, AR. What?
No, you can't have a few minutes. Get on the ball.
Wow. Okay.
AR, brother, you want to come up? We're going over Karen Reed.
He's either gonna come over or he's gonna run the show from the live chat, whichever.
I love my brother AR.
Yeah, I love that.
Get on the ball.
But I'd love to
But-
see a look at your live stream from last night too.
Yeah, no, I'm good. I appreciate the offer though. Yeah, we, like, the live went, like, almost 3 hours, like, a little over 3 hours. We wasn't planning on it. It was just such a good, good conversation and good topics going on last night. After the live stream was over, we had, I had like 177 views so far on my live stream last night.
Oh, people really needed the positive.
Yeah.
I'd like to see a clip of it if it was that popular. If you covered
What?
if you covered the Karen retrial, why don't you play a clip of it and show us the part? If it was that popular, that positive. Give us a sample.
Okay.
Robert, can you use yourself?
Yes. It's hot here, so the air
When you
conditioner's
play it.
going.
Yeah, that's what I figured. You have the air conditioners on full blast. This is just torture. I don't really know if I want to watch this trial anymore. Ooh, I don't know if we can. Will we get a copyright if we put?
It's my own video. Oh shoot. Sorry. I hit the wrong button.
Okay, and when
murder back in 1993. Siobhan Scott, your thoughts about that, going back that far? Are you surprised? Because I think he's probably about 29, 30 years old around that time.
Yeah, it actually doesn't surprise me because what we know about serial killers is they often start in their 20s, sometimes earlier, but these are fantasies that they're enacting, and the fantasies start often in childhood or in their early teens. And when they have those angry, sadistic, sexual fantasies that go on for years and years, yeah, it wouldn't surprise me that he started at that age.
And Scott, I'm thinking about the way this was discovered, how it started in Gilgo, but then they have to put pieces of a body together. We're talking about scattered remains here. And I think what we're really learning is that he thought about this. This was not spontaneous stuff. There was a plan.
Absolutely. You have an individual here that falls into a category of serial killer known as an organized power and control killer. So this is a meticulous planner. And as I think you know, Vinny, I profiled this unknown killer for the New York Times newspaper back in 2011, and I predicted that he would be meticulous, highly trained, and educated. And if you think about it, he's an architect, right? He's trained in engineering, mathematics, design. Who has to be more meticulous in their organization than an architect? And he's used those same skills in both the abduction, killing, and disposal of his bodies.
Now, something that was revealed in some of the papers that were filed in court today, what they uncovered from the suspect we got to put this up on the screen. This is like his pre-prep, prep, and post-event like checklist that he had. Pre-prep, vehicle inspection, engage T1, which was target 1, recon for DS1, dump site 1, locate DS2, weather report, recon for video cameras, meaning surveillance videos, recon the pickup zone for the video cameras, then the prep, set up the stage, a holding area, build a table, crossbar, hard point, then the post-event, he refers to it. And he's also misspelling words here, which is fascinating. Destroy the file, change the tires, burn the gloves, dispose of pictures, have the story set.
That is truly, truly a calculated mind.
That's just scary right there. And why would you write that stuff down?
It was all in his hard drive.
Okay, why would you put it in hard drive or anything like that? I mean, that's just crazy.
Yeah. It just shows you how warped and twisted his mind is, that he even had files for kill kits in his hard drive.
That's the most interesting thing, I think, Robert, right?
Alrighty then. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess if I was going to do something like that, I dang sure wouldn't leave the cookie crumbs behind.
No, I wouldn't leave the cookie crumbs behind either. Because how they found the files is something called a file carving. It's where they isolate certain files in your hard drive.
Right.
Now look at this, guys.
Anyway.
That's everything they took from his house.
Wow, he didn't really cover his tracks too well, it appears. I'm being facetious, clearly, but...
Yeah. 15 different types of cameras, 27 computers, 58 internal hard drives, 22 external hard drives, 46 cell phones, 9 Wi-Fi routers, 44 SD micro cards, 17 tablets, 42 USB devices, 8 laptops, 50 hotel cards, 4 GPS devices, 11 music devices, 36 SIM cards, 33 miscellaneous items, and 647 CD floppy disks, VHS, or miscellaneous tapes.
Let's look at this list. Dang, that's crazy. He has 4 GPS devices. Like, what's the... Maybe because he didn't... Wait. Can you guys, like... see this? Like, 4 GPS devices. Like, I can see what's going on. Like, that's just as good as a burner phone, right? Who's gonna track... I don't know. You can get, like, a burner GPS device. Let's see what else we got.
46 cell phones.
Yep, 36 SIM cards. And this is interesting because we talk about a kill kit. Well, here's a freaking sorry, I'm being, I don't want to talk like that. Here's an example, right? Here's an example of what an actual killer uses in a kill kit. It's not what I thought. Like, I figure stun gun, chloroform, but I mean, he probably gets new versions of that every time,
Yeah. Like 27 computers.
That's a lot of stuff to just think about. Wouldn't it just be easier to just not do these awful things?
It's so weird. I can't hear chat.
Oh, my mic might be low. Robert, is your fan actually blowing air onto the mic?
There we go. I think he needs to turn his volume down and then it will turn ours up. That's what happened last time. That's a guess, though.
Yeah.
What were you saying, Jeff?
I don't know. I don't know if you take offense to this. This was kind of a humorous thing I had done a long time ago. It's a backstage, but I had called it BK's checklist, and it reminds me actually after seeing this checklist. I don't know if you can see that.
I can't see anything backstage. Robert, can you bring that through, please?
And it was just
What the heck?
trying to be humorous back in the day when we were first talking about this. And it was building from comments people made, and I went into Photoshop and kind of put it together to complete it like that. But so if you can't find humor in everything, then you just gotta look a little harder.
Robert?
Are you muted? I think you're muted, Robert, if you're saying anything about that.
As seen on T-Rev.
Yeah, that was back in the days when I just kind of did that out of a courtesy, because everything I was doing was seen on T-Rev, and so that shows you how long ago that was created.
How long ago was it?
July 2023.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so back in the day, I would do stuff for T-Rev's show. It'd be shown on T-Rev's show, and then I'd just kind of throw it up onto my YouTube channel, and there it would sit.
That was super weird, right?
Yeah, especially with when Brett Payne was on the stand, and Alyssa Hennings asked him, "Well, who told you to say this?" And Brett Payne goes, "You did."
Yeah, that's super weird. That was weird. That's like so not right. It's not right. It's like every single thing they do is jumbled, right? Like everything they do. Like Brett Payne said, well, I don't write my own reports. I find smarter people than myself to do that.
Yeah.
That was bad. That's such a bad thing to say.
And he's supposed to be the lead investigator on this case.
Yeah. And he acted like he didn't know what he was talking about. It was weird. I was so confused. Like, why is this guy a cop? I mean, not that he is a good, decent officer, but he's botched the hell out of this case, huh?
Oh yeah, especially when Mallory, when he was testifying, he threw everyone under the bus. And then you had Cy testifying, and Cy said that Mallory did the cast report, or the draft of the cast report, without using any cell tower data. Like, what the heck?
Yeah, that didn't make any sense. That's what the cell tower data is for, right? That is the whole point.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah, because Cy stated that in order to build a cast report, you got to have the AT&T records and the cell tower data. And if you notice during the court hearing, not once did the prosecution ever cross-examine Cy. Oh, look, well, we're not touching him. Oh, no. We're not touching him.
That's so weird. They didn't ask him any questions?
No.
What? Isn't he normally a prosecution? Isn't he normally for the prosecution?
Yes. Cy stated in his testimony, in all of the court cases that he's been in, which is like close to 100 court cases, he's always testified for the prosecution. This is the first time ever he has testified for the defense.
Wow. Ever? How long has he been doing this? You were talking about him with Conference the other day. How long has he even been in this business?
Quite a long time.
Yeah, I don't question I don't question Cy at all. I'm just curious, why they're not taking this opportunity to really utilize some things that I would have thought would have been made more sense. Like you would have thought the prosecution would have had at least a question, just a question, any question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least one question. Heather Fitzgerald said since 2004.
Wow.
So those are the exact same two people and the exact same point of the video that the day before. I said, like I said, I knew it in my head, but I had to see it. So I went back and I looked and I found it. And sure enough, that's who he identified as himself and Proctor, and then changed it once they admitted that it was the driver's side because it was inverted. And he said it was the tow truck driver. So based on those two things, the fact that he said that, oh, the taillight's white, because they were inferring to the jury that was the passenger side and that was the broken taillight, and that's why it wasn't red. He saw a white light. Now, when he said that, I'm looking at it, I'm going, that doesn't look white to me. It looks like a red taillight. It doesn't even look white. That was my first impression as he said it. But then when all this came out, and it's like, so those are the two things. They did it on purpose. It wasn't an accident.
Wow. Wow.
And I think the judge knew it. And where the judge has really been kind of favoring, I don't know, she seems kind of fair in that she sustains and overrules, both sides. But I guess she was leaning towards the prosecution. And I wasn't following it pre-trial, but I guess there was a lot. She was acting a lot like Judge Gull in the Delphi case pre-trial.
Okay.
I don't know. I wasn't watching it then, but that's what I've heard. And but the look on her face, it looked like she was about to cry when she ended court for the day. They were supposed to go until like 4:30 or something. She says, we're going to end early. Jury, you can leave. She kind of kept it together in front of the jury, but once the jury was out of there, she looked so shook. So I'm real excited to see what happens Monday morning.
Yeah, that was tomorrow morning is the next court hearing, or the next trial. It's the actual, not court hearings. Wrong trial.
Trial resumes Monday morning, which for you is tomorrow. For me, it's right now. It's
yeah. Oh, yeah. It is. It's technically, I'm about 20 minutes from Monday myself.
Okay.
So
as Heather says, they are so busted.
Yeah.
That
it's so.
There's no way. Go ahead.
From what I've watched, because I've watched some of it, because some of it's been sadly to say enjoyable to watch. I watched the gosh, now I'm gonna forget his name. I watched the whole thing with the guy who was like texting her, and he's like reading his text, and he's like question mark.
Brian Higgins. That was
Brian
Higgins.
I watched all of Higgins' testimony, and that was so sketchy. How are you gonna get away with that? He's like, I broke the memory card, and then I tossed the phone and the card in a dumpster or whatever,
exactly.
and on the military base. And you go like, you can't do that. Now that's just not. Nobody's falling for that, right? Nobody could possibly be like, that guy's telling the truth. That's what I would do too.
Yeah, who does that when they get, okay, I'm upgrading my phone, or, and he says the reason he did it is because he was worried that one of the people, like one of the criminals had gotten a hold of his phone number, so he had to change his number.
Right.
Well, you can number one, you can change your number without changing your phone. Number two, he waited like months before he did it. So if you were that concerned, then why wouldn't you do that like friggin' the next day?
Yeah.
You wouldn't.
Yes.
You wouldn't wait. But on the trash thing, I do want to point out, so that we're fair, that the area where he lives apparently does not have trash pickup. So people have to take their own trash to the dump or something.
Okay.
So taking the trash somewhere in and of itself isn't necessarily suspicious. But the fact that he's putting them in two different bags, he's putting them in two different dumpsters, whatever, and that he waited so long to do it. That's, I
Yes.
think.
My question is this then. Here and any place else I've lived, which is one whole other place, if you put things into someone's dumpster, that's illegal. There's like stickers on the dumpster that are like, you can't dump your trash here. So I've never lived any place that didn't have trash pickup. So in a town like that, is it so small that dumpsters are like, sure, you can bring your trash here? Are people legally allowed to dump there, or are they actually supposed to pay and take it to the dump?
I think they're supposed to pay and go to the dump.
So he did something illegal at that point, basically.
Yeah, I imagine if everybody that has, because he says he goes to the commissary or whatever, he goes to the base, to buy his groceries or to do whatever. My grandmother when I was little, I used to go to Moffett Field in the Bay Area, south of San Francisco, and we'd go there to the commissary to buy groceries. So I mean, that's kind of a normal thing. But imagine if every single active duty, retired duty person is dumping their trash.
Right.
No, they have to they have to have a rule about that.
They must. They have to. Yeah, there's no possible way, because there's no way it can handle that much trash. And, I do know in Alaska, where I'm from, you cannot pay the trash delivery is local. It's not through the state. So you could not pay for it, but you would have to definitely pay. Maybe you fill a truckload of trash, maybe you have make.
Yes, Kiki.
Hey, I was just wondering if I could talk for a minute.
Yeah.
So the first thing is that I'm gonna have to get off in a little bit. So I just wanted to share a couple thoughts before I left you guys. And so the first thing I wanted to say is I love Sophie's little avatar. That's so cute, her little dog. And it's nice to hear Sophie's voice, because I've only heard her in the live chat before. So she sounds like, it's really nice to hear her opinions on the case. One thing that I noticed from this hearing is that what a difference it makes when you can zoom in and see the facial expressions of the person on the stand. So what a difference that makes when you can really zoom in and see how they're saying something. People are making determinations whether someone's lying or what they're doing. Whereas if you're looking at case hearings, we're just listening to the words, and we're really, we're focusing on exactly what each word meant. But I can see why Judge put such restrictions on, the ability for the cameras to zoom in that trial, because my gosh, when you see the facial expressions, when you see the temperament, when you see the way that somebody is the way that officer was evaluating his information before he gave his answers, those are all things that must affect the general public watching the trial. So not just his words, not just the actual evidence, it's our human nature actually playing a role in what we think the witness is actually saying. So I think that that's an interesting takeaway by the case that I've been covering. What are your thoughts on that, Jeff? Any
Yeah, the thing that came to my mind is, just if somebody's talking and the camera's on them, you're just listening to what they're saying. But if you start to push in slowly, then you're creating an emotional, what they're saying is so the movement of the camera and the choice of, you were over here with the camera, now you're over here. It really does make a statement, and so I can kind of understand, but as being part of the public that loves to watch a trial, I love all that. The Jodi Arias trials, all the trials that were covered with multiple cameras, like you're watching a football game or something. You're not going to miss any play. But I can understand it. I think it is fair to just have a camera that's locked down, doesn't make any statement, doesn't even if a camera catches somebody picking their nose, the director has chosen to take camera 2. They picked their nose. Now they look like a fool on, to to thousands and thousands of people. So.
Well, I mean, also, I forgot that they did that, and that's really true. They actually created suspense because they didn't just do a close-up. It's as he was like trying to study those texts, they're like zooming in, and you know, as someone who's a videographer, that's something people deliberately do to create suspense. So it's interesting you pointed that out too. I did see that. I forgot to write it down. So aside from just the fact that, you know, being so close up and not just getting a general view of the court, you're definitely evaluating the person and not just the words. Sorry, Robert, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, it's okay. But see, just like in Judge's court, everything, he has that one camera sitting up there by the bench, and it just looks, it makes the court look so tiny.
Yeah, it's like the
we
way
all
the
seen-
department looks before they're moving, and you got the moving boxes everywhere. It's kind of grand.
Yeah. Yeah, because we've all seen that one stationary camera that's pointed towards Brian and prosecution, but it just makes everyone look so small.
Absolutely. But you guys, I have to go. Robert, it was so sweet of you to invite me on today. Obviously, I'm here last minute. That's why I'm in my yoga shirt and everything. But I love all you guys. It was nice of you to tune in last minute for my channel. Thank you for inviting me, Robert, and introducing me to the Karen Reed trial. Jeff, lovely to see you as always. And to the live chat, it's always nice to feel your energy. And thank you so much for being here. I hope you have a great day.
Bye, Kiki.
I don't know how to leave you. Hold on.
Robert, do you want to see what I found at Goodwill?
Yeah.
I never get deals like this, but I don't know if you're familiar with these Ridge wallets.
Yeah.
I've already got one, so I don't really need this one. But it's I'm trying to. My brother might take it off my hands. But this thing is like $90 on their website, and it was $5 at Goodwill, and it was still wrapped up, still in the packaging. I don't think anybody used it at all. So.
Maybe they ordered it and decided they didn't want it.
Yeah, it's true. But man, I mean, these are not cheap wallets. I waited and waited like until mine went on sale to get the one I have. So.
Yeah. So, what do you think about the Karen Reed case, Jeff?
You know, I don't really follow it enough to make any. I'm still like just recently, like in the past couple days, I'm starting to understand the players a little bit. Still don't quite get it. It seems like there's just so many people involved. I don't. Like if you were to explain it in a nutshell, what is happening? Is it explainable like in like 30 seconds?
Well, yeah, the testimony that I was covering today was Proctor, and he was going through a list of his prior text messages, like a stack of paper about like that thick, of all his text messages, and quite a few of them were very derogatory towards Karen Reed. Like he called her this, he called her the CUNT word in the text messages. He said that she has poo leaking out of her, what, and but just basically a lot of derogatory stuff about Karen Reed, and then he went on to say that it was the heat of the moment, and he regrets saying the stuff now. But and I mean, you could tell it was his own text messages, but he was getting uncomfortable reading his own text messages up there on the stand, especially the derogatory ones against Karen Reed.
Yeah, you think as a somebody in law enforcement, you got to be careful what you're saying, especially if you're investigating the case. You could end up saying it in the court.
Yeah, but the judge did make a make a ruling, and she explained it before after they came back from break, that there was some inadmissible stuff that she didn't want the prosecution mentioning, And if they did, then she would tell the jury to disregard it.
Although it's kind of hard to unhear something that you've heard, but I know when it comes time to deliberate, they can't. There's stuff that
Yeah.
they can use and stuff that they
Can't use.
consider. What do you think actually happened in this case? If you were a friend sitting on a tree branch watching the whole thing happen, what did you see?
Well, for one, I mean, how is Karen Reed going to run this guy over at another cop's house? Because this is the whole crux of it. And there's video evidence of her backing into another car.
I think I saw that. Yeah. That explains the broken taillight, right?
Yeah. But they're still trying to, tie the broken taillight to her hitting and running over the cop. But if that's actually the case, that she hit the car with the taillight, then that should throw out the whole thing of her backing over the police officer boyfriend and killing him. And that's one of the things that even the judge said that the defense experts, she's not going to allow them to testify.
So, and the person who died in this is related to Karen Reed. How? What's the relationship?
It was her boyfriend.
That's her boyfriend. Okay, gotcha. So yeah, so they're interesting. And it seems too, if you run him over, now if she ran him over, did she then later leave in that same car? Wouldn't that mean that you would run him over a second time if you left in the car?
Yeah.
Or the car didn't move and then they discovered him?
Yeah. According to what Proctor was stating, that he was frozen on the ground, or laying on the ground frozen, and she backed over him and didn't see him. That's according to Proctor. But I don't know this Proctor all that well to actually believe that actually happened, because if he's already on the ground and he's laying on the ground frozen, then wouldn't it mean he was already dead? Before she ran over, before she quote unquote ran over him.
Right, are there those that think that they did something to him, left him there, knowing that she would come in there with the car, said everybody will think it's the car that killed him, not... I don't know. I definitely need to look more into the case.
Yeah. Yeah, because I was in my Discord last night, and a few of my mods was telling me about the case. Yeah, this is my first time covering the case as well. So I got this morning...
There's no cameras that captured any of his death?
No. The only thing that was captured on camera was her backing into a vehicle, and that was it.
Where was he? Where did they find his body? How close to it? Because I've seen it in the garage, and I've seen where she backs out. It's the smashed the taillight out.
His body, from what I've been hearing, was either laying in the yard or laying near the driveway.
Interesting. Yeah, we need cameras everywhere.
Yeah.
Actually, I got this camera I've been messing with. I just finally started messing with it last night, and I discovered, it's got. Actually, if I plug it in, you'll see it's got little infrared lights. Well, it might not, because it's in day mode.
Yeah.
I think I can manually switch it into. But anyway, it's got these little red lights that appear, and that actually is how the infrared picks up. It's from those lights.
Oh wow.
But this is, I think, according to Kane, the landlord at Linda Lane, I think this is like very similar to the model. I think he said he thought he had a 522A. This is a 520A. So it looks exactly the same, but I don't know what the real differences are between them. Actually, I don't
Trust
know
me, I probably don't know it either.
I've got a movie, a short like clip of when the motion of a car driving past it. I think this will be interesting. I've been meaning to do something with this camera for a long time. One of the things is to do some sound tests with it to see like how much it picks up from 100 yards away. This is a microphone, that's recording everything on the lane that we've been watching. But here's like a clip of this was a bug that triggered the motion detection in it. You'll see it in a second. There he goes. It's the bug going by.
Sure that's a bug and not a ghost?
Could be. Yeah, we'll have to listen to the sound real closely. We hear like Casper, the friendly ghost. Let's see, I've got another one to show you. What's the one? I think I'd sent a clip to 12 gauge because I couldn't help but notice. Okay, this one's fine. I think vehicles tend to look pretty much the same as it goes by. But I couldn't help but notice like the stretching of like the headlights that is very similar to the look on the gas station camera. So I'll let it go by and then I'll pause it so you can see it. So it's just a vehicle that triggered it. If you go, I think the second vehicle comes in. But when you look at it, you can see, see how it stretches the, the headlights are not long and oval like that. It's just because of the motion. But I thought this was interesting to see. I turned off all the lights on the front of my house, so that the stuff, it looks like light that's hitting the trees and the grass. That's all from the little red lights on the camera, because that's all. Just,
oh wow.
That's all just black. Actually, I think I recorded a clip without the infrared lights on at all. I'm not seeing it. I'm not. But it'll be interesting to mess around with this camera and see, knowing that it's the same, I think pretty much the same camera that's on Linda Lane. I've just been trying to think for the longest time what kind of tests are going to work best, just to compare this with that camera. Also too, I mean, there's like all kinds of settings. I can set this thing to have very high quality video or very crappy quality video, and I have no idea how this camera was actually set. I can maybe guess at least at like the frame rate. Also interesting too, I mean, I can't seem to get this camera to do anything other than a square image. And all the Linda Lane footage I've seen is, it's rectangular, 16 by 9. Now, it does have a stretch feature that's just visuals for me to see it filling the frame 16 by 9. So, I don't know, maybe at some point, whoever released the Linda Lane footage then stretched it to be 16 by 9, or whatever they used to export it, I don't know.
Yeah. So what do you think about that Ring doorbell cam? They're by the house at 1122 King Road. Olivia Gonzalez is claiming that she has the camera.
She has the camera footage or the actual camera?
She has the actual. But she said that she has the footage. So could the renters have made a copy for her and a copy for the police? Just without telling the police. Without telling the police that they made the copy for her.
Well, you know, Mark, it makes me wonder if it's actually even an illegal thing, because I mean, you know, like this footage at 1330 Linda Lane is property of the landlord there. So I don't think in sharing the footage, I'm not sure. That's a question for a lawyer type. But the thing is, it's like if it's not illegal, and if say like the 1330 footage was purchased or sold, and that's how it got out, it's like, can we all like pool our money together and offer it to get the like bulb camera? Because I'd love to see it.
So would I.
I pulled up a still of it. This is the one you're talking about, right?
That truck has always been suspicious to me, because it sat there and didn't move. Because it sat there and didn't move. It was like I was watching the 1122 King Roadhouse, because.
Well, but it's there the next day, right? When the police officers are there, right? Didn't we look at that on that live stream?
Yeah, I think so.
Because I think that's just a parking space. And if you look at this car over here, I know I've heard a lot of people, or not a lot, some people were saying this looked like a car. Maybe it had just taken the turn. I mean, for one, its lights are off, so I think that's the first thing it says. I think it's parked. But if you look on Google Earth, you can see this curb is painted yellow from about the back of that car to here, as to say no parking on this curb. But from here forward, yes, you can park there. So I mean, I'm thinking that's just. I tell you what, though, would have been nice to have this still picture with the car that Kaylee's sister, you know, apparently said she saw. You know, the ride share. You know, not exactly sure why they didn't choose that frame to show. Unless there is, like it's maybe, like I said, it's a legal question, and there's certain things they can't share. Maybe this is legit. You can't share with the public. Maybe the others aren't. Although I wonder if this is actually, you know, legit or not legit. If they were allowed to actually do this.
Yeah, everything about this case, about the Karen Reed case, is just so weird.
But what's interesting, I noticed you know, it's unfortunate. You can see what happens with the license plates on the cars, and I guess that's, you know, if this camera is operating similar to this camera that I've got, I mean, it's that those infrared lights blast out there and reflective like license plates. They just look like they've gone nuclear, just glowing. You're not gonna see like the information on the license plate. You don't even get a sense of what state it's from. You know, it's just a white nuclear. But I do think, though, I mean, if you imagine a Hyundai Elantra coming around this corner, if it came around here and did a U-turn, I mean, there's a pool of light here from the street lights. I think for one, if you see the front of the car, you're going to be able to tell if it's got a license plate or not. Like, I mean, you can tell without a doubt, these three cars in front here have license plates on the front. Even this one is obscured somewhere by the fence, and you're still seeing.
Yeah.
So I think any car that's coming around that corner that doesn't have the license plate on the front is going to be, I think, pretty obvious. Although, you know, I mean, I don't know. If you look at this, you don't really get the same glow effect on the car back here. I guess that's because of the distance away from the infrared lights. These are really close, of course. But I mean, this car, as far as back as the dumpster, that's got some glow off of the license plate. So imagine a car over here. It's hard to tell because it's gonna have headlights that are blasting forward too. So. all I know is I would just love to see it. Because I think it would help answer, like, you know, if I'd be the first to admit, because I don't admit it now, but if I saw a Chrysler 300 turn this corner and then show up at like 30 seconds later on the Linda Lane camera, I'd be like, okay, this is a Chrysler 300.
Yeah, I've heard so many different, like, yeah, different cars, like Chrysler 300, a Nissan Sentra, and then I've also heard that about the undercover cop, which was that Ford Fusion. Yeah, the car that made the 3-point turn that night, could that have been near Linda Lane? Could that have been the Ford, the undercover cop car, maybe going to another call, or?
Well, I mean, like I said, this is, I think if we see the footage of the car coming in, that's the other thing I learned from messing around with this camera last night, is that I think it has the ability to, it's always like monitoring and I think always kind of recording in a sense, but the clips that it makes, it's got like a pre-roll. You can set how much time you want before the clip. So there's the thing that triggers the motion, but it's already kind of recording it before it comes in. So you get the complete, like most of the clips I look at, I see the clip a second or two later, then I see the thing that triggered it coming through. So you get all of it. You don't miss anything. And so I imagine if this camera works the same, we're going to see that car come around that corner, and we're going to be able to determine what kind of car it is. Especially if we get a good side view look of the side windows. I think they're kind of cool. And if it truly does like a 3-point U-turn out in the middle of King and Queen right there, that I think is going to be very telling.
But see, would just like that paint.
Alex asked a question on there about why can't we just see the so-called 1122 camera? I don't think the 1122 house had any camera though. I know there's like 12 gauge and Kiki, I think we're doing some shows about a house directly across from the 1122 house, 712.
Yeah.
They think might have a camera on it.
Yeah, because there was evidence that the owner of the 712 house actually gave the SD card for the camera to the police.
Yeah, I saw a still picture of. It looks like they're exchanging something. I guess I'm a little bit of a holdout on it until I'm sure or more sure that that's what is going on. There's so many times where there's other YouTubers that are out there on the street, their camera almost points like what's her name? I don't know if you like to mention other YouTubers, but she's out there, she's walking backwards, almost about to see where that camera's located, and then she swings the camera over to the 1122 house. Man, so close. We're this close.
Yeah.
So
Now, do you think with them tearing down the crime scene, is that going to hurt the case or help the case?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess we just got to hope that they've documented everything very, very well. There's part of me that feels like, would it be like a deciding factor for a jury member? Like, oh, you know what? I was on the fence until I stood in the back there and saw, oh, I bet this is where he parked. You can see right into Maddie's window from right here. But I think there's so many photographs and video, and you got that 3D camera that they've got. I just don't. I don't imagine it being like the very thing that the jury member just makes the decision on.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Yeah,
but
like
I get the sense. I got the sense from a couple little emails back and forth with the landlord at Linda Lane that it was becoming a real problem with people coming up there and just wanting to kind of, see the spot, and, coming through and taking video, taking pictures. And I guess it's kind of difficult because it's a very small little dead end it's a dead end. It's like a in a sense like a cul-de-sac. You know, you come in through this make this turn into here. That's the only way to get back out. So you've got to go back out. And if you've got people like coming in there gawking and stopping in the middle of the road, for the people that live there, that's got to be like a real headache.
Yeah, see, that's why I don't really like other content creators doing like boots. I mean, I understand if it's like a missing persons case, doing boots on the ground to help out with the case and stuff. But at the same time, they're invading that town. You know, they're basically invading that town, and there's, I'm pretty sure quite a few townspeople wouldn't mind for like us as content creators to stay out of their town during an open investigation.
Right. Or maybe what they could have done is
drain.
They could have put a big tip jar out there. So, like, if you want to come up in there and take pictures, you got to pay $5 and it's going to go towards some charity or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Now, I was wanting to go boots on the ground there in Idaho, during Moscow, but then I started finding out that the people in Moscow don't like outsiders. Yeah, especially during this whole court case with Brian. Yeah, if you're a YouTube content creator and you go into Moscow, yeah, it's a very hostile town towards content creators, because they think that you're just trying to make a quick buck off of the tragedy.
Well, I mean, there's some content creators that it's almost like, I can't help it when I listen to their videos, I'm thinking like, wow, are you out to destroy the tourism department there in Moscow? Moscow, however you say it. And, I mean, it's...
Moscow.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, it's I can kind of understand how they must feel a little bit. When the sentiment starts to be like, oh, I would never send my kid to college out there. I would never stay there. I would never even go there. It's like, okay.
Now, what did you think about Brett Payne stating that he don't know where certain stuff is, that they've lost stuff over the last 18 months? And
well, I mean, is he saying that he doesn't know where stuff is, or he's just saying, I mean, there's a lot of stuff, and where it is all housed is over, in evidence. I wonder, though, if he's like, I think he's got to be careful of what he obviously can't remember, like, every single nook and cranny of everything that there is. And so, on the stand, I mean, and this isn't even the trial, I really wonder if it's best for him, just like the least that he says is probably best. Because if he just went off speculating and I think that could be problematic when it comes trial time, because then they'd probably use what he said, today, they'd use it, then at trial time. So it does seem to me like, the defense is clearly, I think, more at liberty to kind of speak freely, whereas I think the prosecution and law enforcement, it's like, I'm sure as much as they would love to like share what they know to like answer the questions and be like, oh, if you guys only knew this, it would make total sense. They can't do that. They're not going to do that. I don't think we should expect them to do that. And so they have to basically, it sounds like they have to take, the speculation of what the community thinks of them with their really minimal answers, I guess, in the hearings, which is unfortunate. But for them, I mean, that's got to suck. That's got to suck if you have stuff that could clear your... Because if you're saying something to the public, it makes public thinks, oh, I think he's an idiot based on what I just heard him say, or what I understood him to say. And then if he could just explain himself, and you might find out, it's like, oh, okay, there is an explanation.
But see,
the whole thing with Maori, and the stuff that he did, like, I just don't I don't understand enough about the CastViz program, but I mean the thing that I liken it to is like if somebody asks me, because he did say he wasn't the guy, he was just asked to compile a couple items together in something to present. If somebody asked me, or you asked me, Roberts, it's like, hey Jeff, can you make a for sale sign on an 8.5 piece of 8.5 by 11 for sale sign, put a picture of a garage on it, and just print it on 8.5 by 11 paper? I would go to Microsoft Word, I would do it, print it. You'd say, hey, that looks great, thanks. I'm probably not going to save, that Microsoft Word project. It's like that was easy. I could do that again. It's just obvious what I did. Now, granted, I don't understand CastViz. I don't understand. But the thing is, it's like that's the other thing. It's like, could Mallory have said something that would have explained it, made him not look, because he came off to some like incompetent, right? With the software. I mean, maybe he did even admit that he didn't know the software, that much. But again, I think given like you say too much to clear your name as an officer and not have people think you're an idiot, or do you just like say the least, take the hits, trial's coming, And so I think that's more of what. Like I have a feeling, it seems to me, didn't it seem like Bill Thompson didn't say much in the last hearing, maybe even the last two hearings?
No, he didn't.
I wondered if that was because they watched the tapes and they were, and realized when you started getting angry in the hearing, it's like that's unnecessary. This isn't the trial. It's a bad look. There's no reason to get like all upset about this. And so, I was like, I wonder if can't help but wonder if they had a meeting and said, hey, look, this is all about saying the least that we have to say because we don't want to be jeopardizing, the trial. We know that the defense is out to like, they're not out to be our friend. They're not out to help us get to the truth. They're just, now maybe in a sense they do desire the truth. But if they do have the right guy, in essence, they don't want the truth. They want to find. Look at the Chad Daybell trial. The attorney for Chad Daybell was not out to find the truth. He was out to he had people questioning. Good one, 12 days. He had he had people second guessing whether Chad Daybell's home even had a second floor. I mean, it's something that.
Yeah.
It's like you're trying to confuse things and discredit people, even to the point where you're trying to say, see how crazy they sound because that house doesn't even have a second floor. Well, it does have a second floor. So what they're willing to go, and I guess it depends on whether whether you're guilty or whether you're on the other side. You imagine the other side being willing to do whatever it takes to get the desired outcome. So I don't know. I would just love. Part of me would love to just be over, or at least happening right now. There's so many questions that people have, and
especially with the Gonzalez family. They can't figure out why there's like a hearing for every motion, and they're still wondering why the alibi is being like kicked down the road like a can.
I mean, if this was you were completely innocent of this. I mean, at what point would you be giving over your alibi?
I would have gave my alibi the day I got arrested.
That's what I would imagine. I mean, I've often thought about this as like a cheating husband. If the cheating husband is going to wait until he hears from the wife what she knows, what she's heard, and what she believes, and then gives the alibi, I'm thinking that alibi has been kind of like concocted to fit, versus, you know, if the wife's like, you know, what's your alibi? It's like, here it is, I'll lay it out right here, here's everything. And I don't know, it just seems like, I don't know.
Yeah, just like when Ann Taylor said that they were going to use the cell phone data for the alibi, which was kind of odd. If you're going to have an alibi, then you give the alibi up straight away, and not wait almost 18 months to give the alibi.
Right.
Yeah.
But I know Anna's in a difficult position too, because she's not the one that's being accused of this, and it's not just her saying what the truth is. She's got to get it from Brian. So there's no guarantee that Brian is telling her the truth. So she's in the middle. She's got to do the best job she can with her job, and she's in the middle of whatever Brian is sharing and whatever Brian is saying. And I even wonder sometimes, it's like when they started talking about that case law from the 1800s, is that the result of somebody sitting in jail? And I don't know if they have a legal library, or if you're in jail, you have plenty of time, I imagine, to research. And I often wondered if that's where that came from. It's like, because I know, like, if you think about in the Jodi Arias case, Jodi Arias drove her lawyer crazy. I think he even wrote a book about it. He so wanted to quit.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, she was. He was appointed, and he had to do it. He couldn't just quit. There was no way to do that. And he's been. Look around. I think there's a bunch of interviews with him. I think now he can, speak a little more freely now that the trial's done. But yeah, he was in a bad spot.
Now, do you think Jodi Arias? Do you think she was a psycho or just a sociopath?
I don't know that I know the difference between them enough to say, but I know that, what is it? Hell hath no
fury like a woman scorned.
Yeah, if you consider, she went all the way there, all the stuff they did, they had all the lovemaking that, and then he's in the shower, and then just attacks him like that. Stabbed him 27 times.
And then shot him
in 3 minutes. I think under 3 minutes, or maybe 3 minutes, because the camera had timestamps on all the photos. And what a camera! I often thought Sony should have done a TV commercial about that camera. This Sony camera will actually take pictures of the crime while the murderer is conducting the crime. What other camera can do that?
Yeah, and then she turns around and she tries to wash the camera in his washing machine.
Yep. Yeah, and she's a photographer. She's a good photographer too. You'd think that she would know. Now, I believe the way it worked, I think she thought she had deleted the pictures. So I think she was aware that those pictures were on there. She deleted them, or she thought she had. I think probably just figured they're deleted, but I'm going to throw it in the washing machine just in case, really screw that thing up. But an SD card, I guess, it's preserved inside the camera, safe from the washing, and the files weren't actually completely deleted. I don't think they're actually fully deleted until you format the card. Like my camera does, it's got a little checkbox for if it asks you if you want to do a low-level format, and I think what that's doing is completely, screwing up any possibility of finding any old image on the card.
Yeah, have you seen the Gonzalez family statement yet? After that trial with Mallory?
I think I did. What was the gist of what they said in that?
Okay. Here, I got it right here. Discovery. You have what we want. No, I don't. Yes, you do. No, I don't. Let's have it. Let's have a new hearing. Hit repeat. This banter has been going on for 17 months. Then once you get a hearing, you have a hearing about the decision that was made at the hearing before, the last hearing, and there needs to be another hearing. This case is turning into a hamster wheel of motions, hearings, and delayed decisions. Not every motion needs a hearing. Not every decision needs to take a month to decide. Can we all just agree that this case needs to move forward and the judge needs to start setting hard deadlines in the case? Oh, and by the way, why do they keep kicking the alibi issue down the road? Well, let's have another hearing to discuss whether it is a full or half alibi. Such notice by the defendant shall state the specific place or places, that the bottom part's cut off.
Kind of makes me think of, like, when the space shuttle launches would happen, and they postpone the launch, and they postpone it. They got to check this out.
Yeah.
Postpone it. I mean, there's reasons for all the postponement, but yeah, I can see his point. It's like at some point, like me, I've had this camera. I've been wanting to do something with it for probably almost a year, and it wasn't until last night I finally did. At some point, you have to say, okay, let's start. Somebody say 1, 2, 3, go.
Yeah.
I can understand his point. But I think I imagine, the judge is being very careful. The judge's carefulness reminds me of, like, the judge in the Darrell Brooks case. She seemed to let him go off and say awful things and just be, eventually she did kind of lock down a little bit, but I'm sure she was just trying to not give him any reason to want an appeal or go after appeal based on anything that she did improperly. So I'm sure the judge doesn't want to, do anything that makes it seem like in the end it's like where Ann later can say, well, you rushed me into doing this or this or that. So I think they're trying to, it's like they're walking on eggshells around Ann, trying their best to give her everything that she wants. So I don't know.
Cream donut, vegan flavored. Yeah. He's going out for Krispy Kreme donut, vegan flavored.
Krispy Kreme, yeah.
Yeah. Alright, well, I've been live for 2 hours and 15 minutes, Jeff. I'm going to wrap this live up. Thank you for coming up on panel, Jeff.
Yeah, thank you, Robert. Thank you. Your timing is perfect because my wife is yelling at me for eating all her chocolate chip cookies. I better go. Wish me luck.
Yeah, my wife was yelling at me from the bedroom. Are you done yet?
She's gonna kill me. Huh? Oh, yeah. Yeah. No. This is Robert from True Crime Call. 12 gauges in the chat room. My wife says hi, everybody. Right? She's got a little bit of a smile, even though she's got no chocolate chip cookies to eat. So I better go to the store. Thanks, Robert, for having me. I appreciate
All right.
it.
You're welcome. You guys have a good day.
You too.
Bye. Alright guys, I'm going to wrap this live stream up, and thank you for everyone who came and who was chatting. This was a very positive environment today, and it's going to stay that way. I want to say thank you to all my moderators. One particular that gave me some positive feedback about my mic situation. You guys have a good day. And TCC out. Peace.